What is going on, YouTubeverse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio here, bringing you another Viva La Vinyl classic album review, and this is a very special one for me and this channel, especially because this is actually my 100th album review on this channel, and it also happens to be the 300th video on this channel, so big round numbers here for Johnny Radio, and this is also happens to be the first album that I had ever reviewed on this channel. So I'm re-reviewing it in honor of its 50-year anniversary re-release, which is happening tomorrow. It was the originals were remastered by George Martin's son, Giles Martin. And I'm not going to talk about the re-release because I haven't heard it yet, other than the few things that have been out there before its release. But I just really want to talk again about this record because Abbey Road is one I could go on and on about. It is my favorite Beatles album, and that's really saying something because any of you who've been following this channel long enough know the Beatles are my favorite band of all time. Usually you'll see this in the background on this wall here, in this spot here, but I move things around especially for this video to hold this up. You know, just the iconic image alone. And I've had the opportunity to walk across this street. There's an image of this on my Facebook page right now because I'm so psyched for just Abbey Road kind of getting some love here 50 years down the line. It is just one of the greatest albums ever made. I think it's really a magical record. It is the Beatles' swan song. It was the last album that they recorded together, even though Let It Be was released after Abbey Road. That was recorded before. And you could tell that the Beatles, even though they were ready to break up and go their separate ways, they wanted to come together and just make the best possible thing that they could go out with a bang on. And that's not something you see hardly ever. As a matter of fact, I think the Beatles' trajectory as a band is one that you never see. They just kept getting better and better together until they peaked out with their very best work, Abbey Road. Just from the opening track, Come Together, which is one of the coolest opening tracks, that bass line and the cool thing that Ringo does on the drums, mixing perfectly with John Lennon's just amazing song that it was so weird at the time lyrically, and he wanted to be used for somebody's political campaign, and I think they actually turned him down because it was just like, you know, talking about hair down to your knees and feel your disease in an armchair. It's like, what are you talking about? But just a classic. And then going straight into Something, which is, I think, one of the best Beatles songs ever written and one of George Harrison's best songs ever written. One of the most beautiful ballads of all time. By the way, I know I'm probably just repeating myself from the last review I did of this, but keep in mind that was several years ago when I didn't have as much equipment. I didn't have this wall of classic albums behind me, and I didn't know what I was doing. It was my very first video on this channel, so the quality was terrible, but I think what's remained the same is my love and passion for this record, which will never die. It is just, it is a timeless masterpiece. I mean, come on. I'm just going to say the names here. Maxwell's Silver Hammer, goofy as it is, it's a classic. Oh Darling, which is one of Paul McCartney's finest vocal hours. Just, I don't know how many takes they ended up doing of that song, but by the time they got to the one they used, it was so scratchy and raspy, it could have been John Lennon from Twist and Shout. I mean, it was just great. Octopus's Garden, probably the best thing that Ringo ever did as a song, and you know, it's a little bit hokey, but hey, it's a great sing-along. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. I mean, come on. Then you got I Want You, She's So Heavy. This is probably really one of my favorite tracks on the album. Just such a cool, dark riff by Lennon that they just let go on, and then it sounds apocalyptic by the end of the song with all the kind of loud, gushing air noises, and then it just ends abruptly, going straight into Here Comes the Sun, one of the best segues in any album. And Here Comes the Sun is just classic Beatles, about love and positivity. And again, George Harrison flexing his muscles, who just had all these great songs kind of bottled up at this point that he would later put on All Things Must Pass. But this is just one of his best. Really, the highlights on here, as far as single songs to me, are Something and Here Comes the Sun. Absolutely. But then there's side B, which is just one long song starting with Because, and then, which is just the three-way harmony between those guys is nothing short of miraculous. It is just gorgeous on that song. Then You Never Give Me Your Money, which really, this is where the long medley starts off, one continuous track. And Paul McCartney has never been better. I just love the chord progression on this song, and how it switches gears a couple times. It's kind of a precursor to Band on the Run, really. And just a beautiful song, the way it ends up saying, "Oh, that magic feeling," which is really the feeling I get when I listen to this album as a whole. And then the magic just continues from there. Sun King, Mean Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, all these short little snippets of kind of unfinished songs that John and Paul had written but never amounted to something. And then they figured, let's just throw it all together and see what happens. And it worked beautifully, culminating with Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and of course the end where John, George, and Paul trade off guitar solos, and it just ends with a bang. And then, of course, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. What a beautiful and profound sentiment that really sums up the message of the Beatles as a whole. And then, of course, Her Majesty coming in as a little bonus hidden track. This album has it all. I mean, the first time I heard it in its entirety, I was blown away. I had already been a moderate fan of the Beatles, but my friend Mark Mahan was like, wait, you've never listened to Abbey Road, the whole album? What's wrong with you? Go do that now. And I did, and then I was just immediately in love with these guys and had to go back from the beginning, listen to all their albums. And I started my love affair with the Beatles. And so tomorrow they're releasing the 50th anniversary edition. I can't wait to hear all the alternate takes and hopefully some stuff that maybe has never been heard before. I'm just so excited about that because it feels like maybe, the Beatles are still with us today. And thankfully, we've still got Paul and Ringo. Rest in peace, John and George, but Abbey Road, guys, one of the best ever. What more can I say? I just really want to say one more time, thank you to all of you who've subscribed to this channel and have been watching over these last few years. I feel like I have grown a bit and gotten a little bit better at this, hopefully. But please leave in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think of this album. Is it one of your favorites? What are your favorite tracks on it? And please, if you like this, subscribe, all that jazz. We got so much more, album reviews, top fives, songs of the week, and so much more. Thank you for watching, and as always, Viva La Vinyl. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz. Check out some of my other content that you can see on the screen now. Thank you again for supporting Johnny Radio. Take care, and I'll see you soon.